Today we're in my 1993 Mazda Miata, and we're going to switch out the fuel pump. As far as I know, the original fuel pump is still in there, and it's been 141,705 miles. So, having some fuel delivery issues, and I'm pretty sure it's the fuel pump, so we're going to tackle that today. Here with my kitty. Okay, and fuel tank on these Miatas is back here. It's right in the rear. And to access this, all you do is take out the carpet. There's the carpet right here. The cat's sitting on. And you just take out a bunch of plastic screws from right in here. And then there's this piece of rubber underneath that. You just lift that up. And there's also a piece of fabric that was soaking wet. I got a little tear in the back window there, so that's probably the cause of that. Also being in a moist climate could also account for that. So you can see the plate that covers the actual gas tank is all rusted out and nasty, but on the other side it's not too bad. And there's just like 6 little screws like this that you gotta take out of there. And that actually wasn't as hard as it could have been. They were rusted in, but not too badly. So okay, and so here's the actual fuel pump assembly thing. I've already disconnected everything, obviously, but kind of doing a recreation right now. And in here, it's probably not going to show up, but there's all kinds of little mouse nesting junk, and here's the actual mouse's skull. So yeah, that's pretty messed up. There was somebody living in there, but fortunately he didn't do any chewing of the gas line, or he didn't chew any wires, and so I guess I got lucky on that one, and now he's dead, so I don't have to worry about that part of it anymore. But all you do to take this out is you pull off, take off the clamp, and let's pull off the 2 gas lines here. Take off this little electrical connector. It is squeezed right on the bottom there, and it just slides right out real easy. Okay, let's try and put everything to the side. And lift up. Here's your fuel pump assembly. Ooh. Dealing with the full tank of gas, so this is going to be messy. Get it out here with one hand. Let it drain a little bit. Okay. Cooperating. There we go. Okay. What a mess, what a mess. I'm just going to let that filter drain out there. Okay. Probably as good as she gets. You have to awkwardly get out of here without dripping too much gas. Whew. Good God. Okay, and just leave this here for a little bit to drain. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit for a bit, and then probably take it inside and work on it there. Okay, so here's the fuel pump unit that I took out of the Miata, and I've already disassembled it, and I'm just going to kind of go through how I took it apart. Don't need to take apart the whole thing, only a few of them. Now, one way you could do this is just replace this whole assembly, but they're pretty much impossible to find new if your car is an older one, like 90 to 93. They do come up on eBay now and then used, but they're not cheap. The cheapest one I found was about $70. So, I mean, in this case, if the sender unit and the float are fine, there's really no reason to replace the whole thing. I mean, the only thing I want to replace here is this fuel pump, so I mean, that's a much cheaper fix than replacing the whole thing. So, the way this works here is, this is the bottom of it, and it just goes in here, and it's held on just by this one screw, and this is where the fuel pump actually sits, on here, and on here, like that, and hanging off the fuel line there is this little thing that's called a sock or a fuel strainer, and it just goes right over here. Okay, the fuel pump is held on here by this little band. This one's kind of old and cracking, so it would be nice to have another one of those. But in this part, just attaches here, and here's your electrical connector. Okay, and this fuel pump here, the one that I took out of the car, it's actually a Denso model fuel pump, and so I don't know whether or not that was the original one that was in there. Thinking probably not, but could be. I don't really know. Okay, and when you put this into the fuel line right here, you just put this thing and this O-ring and this cap on the top. I mean, it's real easy. And here's the new pump that I bought. And this one, I actually bought it on eBay. And as you can see here, it's supposed to be a Delphi pump, model FE0283. But the seller actually ripped me off, and it was a company, not an individual, so they shouldn't be so shady. But what they did send here was this pump right here in this box. And it's probably not going to show up on this camera, but this one is actually a Walbro. So, I mean, I don't know. Walbro is supposed to be an okay brand of pump. Probably not as good as a Delphi would have been, but I mean, I'm going to use it because I need it, but not too happy about the eBay seller. And also the Walbro pump, it has a reputation for being loud, and they didn't send like the muffler band that's supposed to be there, so I don't know. But we're going to go with it, at least temporarily, because that's what I have on hand, and it's not too terrible. Okay, here's the kit that it came with. These little bits right here. This seat is in there, and I got a couple little more things. Yeah, that stuff you really don't need to replace. And the old ones I have aren't in too bad condition, so I'll probably just end up reusing those. It also comes with this electrical adapter, and I am going to need to use that because the setup here is a little bit different. So I think how this works is plug these two into these tongs here, and then this part of it just plugs into the existing wire harness there. So it's not going to be too hard doing that. Okay. And this pump that I bought on eBay, it also comes with instructions. The instructions are pretty generic, but I looked through them a little bit, and they were helpful. Not as helpful as some YouTube videos that show you how to do this, but it's always good to have some kind of instructions if you need a little bit of help or whatever. So anyway, this pump here, this Delphi / Walbro, it actually only cost $25 delivered. So I mean that's really cheap. You know, these pumps, if you paid full price for them, they're like $200. So I mean, then even if this pump just gets me through like a year, 10,000 miles, I mean, hey, I'll be fine with that. Let's buy another one for $25. So that's what I'm gonna be putting this together. Put this new one on here, and then go out and install it in the car and pray that it works. But I mean, this is gonna wind up being a pretty easy job. I mean, it's taking me maybe an hour because I'm going super slow, doing it for the first time. But I mean, you know, it could be like a 20-minute job for somebody. And if I were to go to a mechanic auto shop, I mean, it would cost at least $300 for all the parts and labor. I mean, they just rip you off any way they can. So it's much easier to do it yourself, especially when you have a car like the Miata, where it's easy to get to the gas tank. So I'm happy about that. The other thing is this sock here. I'm gonna have to reuse this too because this kit doesn't come with one. It's kind of disappointing, and I don't want to wait to have to order another one of these and wait for it to arrive. So I mean, it's not in terrible shape. It certainly still works. So I'm just gonna put it on here and use it at least temporarily. So okay, I'll put this together and then we'll have the last part of the video and I go out to the car and reinstall it. Alright, thank you. Yeah, it's time to put the fuel pump assembly back in. Just wanted to show you what we came up with as far as how it ended up looking. Well, I didn't put it together 100% perfect, but everything's in there and it looks like it'll hold up together. Hopefully work. Here's the weird wiring situation that we had. These connectors here, and then they just go into the original harness there. So hopefully that should be okay. Alright, and I wanted to reiterate that this Walbro pump that I got for $25, it was new. I'm not dealing with an old fuel pump for that price. The ones for the Miata, they have some generic ones that are pretty cheap. Like, I saw one that was only $15. I don't know if I would actually use that one, but they range from like $15 up to $50 for like a really cheap, just generic type of one. But if you want to get a better brand and actually get it delivered to you, then you gotta pay a little bit more. But it's cheap. Let's go to eBay or rockauto.com and see what you have. I mean, before I did this, I always assumed that fuel pumps cost like $200 each or something like that, but that's not really the case for these old Miatas. And here's the old fuel pump that I took out of there, and this one, I think it's dying, but it still works. So instead of recycling it, I'm just gonna keep it in the car as an extreme emergency backup. But hopefully I'll never need to use it again. Okay, and now I'm gonna put this bad boy in. The camera work is gonna go from bad to worse, so bear with me here. Alright. Crawl back in the back seat here, push this rubber back, and here's this rusty old cover plate. Okay. And you can see the well and the actual gas tank. It looks okay in there. It doesn't look like anything fell in and contaminated it, so it should be okay. Okay. Put these to the side. This is the part where you need some extra hands. Now I got to ease everything in there. So it's settled the right way. Make sure the gasket is not too messed up. Float's going up, so that's good. Okay. Yeah, not the best idea doing this one-handed. Alright, all the holes lined up. There's a bunch of little screws in this part of it. I'm only going to put a couple on until I make sure everything's working okay. Okay, so I guess it's good. Get it perfectly lined up there. Be to put these gas lines back on. Let's see. There's my clamp. Two little clamps here. I think this is a big one. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, goes on pretty easy. Nice warm day, so that's not to struggle with that too badly. Here's the other one. Oop. Clamp on. Get them on there later. Okay. There we go. That was real easy. Alright. Yeah. Alright, that's good enough for right now. Clamp it up later. Now this little electrical connector. Snap him on here. Nothing to it. Okay, now that was easy. Here's the hard part. We're going to seal this up later. But right now, I think it's time to test her out. Now, in the case of full disclosure here, the car was running before, but not as good as I would like. So hopefully this fuel pump that we put in is going to be a lot stronger, and hopefully it won't be as loud as people say it is. But we're going to find out. Alright, there's that little, I took the mouse skull that was in the well that back where the gas tank is, and I took that out of there. He's also got a little acorn and piece of his spine, I guess. But I'm not sure what I should do with that. Probably give it a proper burial so the mouse doesn't haunt me. Or maybe I should keep it in there. I don't know. Well, we'll find out. Okay. A little bit nervous. Hope it don't blow up here. Now with these Miatas, there's no power to the fuel pump until you actually turn the key, which is kind of annoying. I'd rather hear the fuel pump when you turn it to the on position, but it's not the case with these Miatas. So, alright, here goes. Okay, so far so good. And actually, I can hear the Walbro. I could hear it. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but it is very loud. Noise doesn't really bother me though. I mean, it's not bad. I could always buy the sleeve for it. I'd much rather have proper fuel pressure than and deal with that noise than with the old one. Okay, let's see here. Nothing's blowing up. The gauge is okay. Okay. I hear the fuel pump working. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a constant hum or not, but well, we're gonna find out. The real test for this will be when I actually take it on the road, but I'm not going to do that right at the moment. I think sounds good. You can hear that hum again. Okay. Well, see what happens here. It's idling good, which is better than it had been doing. It had been like at 500, which I guess is normal, but well, we're going to see what happens there. Okay. So far so good on that. Whoop, we got engine light. Oh, that's weird. And now it's doing that automatic revving thing that I thought was the faulty fuel pump, but I guess not. Yeah, I'm just letting it idle. I'm not touching anything. Okay, now I'm going to rev it. Idle's dropping down a little bit. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to start her again. Because the problem that I've been having with the old fuel pump was once it got hot and then you turn it off and try and start it again, it wouldn't start. So, I mean, we're not hot now, but we'll just do it just for kicks and see what happens. Okay, yeah. So she's starting right up fine. I know this car does have other issues. So, check engine light is puzzling. idle is back to normal. It didn't do that surge thing that it did last time. So other work I need to do on this car is I need to replace the radiator. So I'll make a YouTube video about that. It's probably going to be more of a pain than the fuel pump, because the fuel pump was a pretty easy job. But as long as this car runs and doesn't overheat and doesn't stall out, I will be happy for the time being. You can still hear the Walbro noise there. Probably hear it. When I go back here. When I put the mat and the carpet back, it won't be as loud. Not too bad. Okay, so I guess everything's good. If I should get stranded on the side of the road, I'll make a video of that too. But for right now, we're going to say everything was a success. Okay. Shut her down. And thanks for watching this video. And I hope it was at least a little bit entertaining for you to laugh at me and my wonderful repairs. Alright. That's it.